93 settlements in Russia's Kursk region are under the control of Ukrainian forces.
This is our first minutes in SUDZHA, Kursk region.
Germany will supply Ukraine with 4 additional Iris-T air defense systems. What else will Kyiv receive? The pace of evacuation has increased from Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region, but there are still more than 50,000 residents in the city.
Many of us don't want to leave.
Hi, I'm Evacuation. This is UNITED24 Media. Russian forces shelled SUDZHA in the Kharkiv region with artillery. 3 people are believed to be trapped under the rubble. This was reported by the regional governor, Oleg Senegubov. As a result of shelling, the building of the village council was damaged. Rescue services are working on site. A 14-year-old boy was killed when Russian forces attacked Malokaterynivka in the Zaporizhzhia region. 9 other civilians were injured, among them 6 children. According to the regional governor, Russia attacked a children's cafe. It was hit with a 152mm shell.
I saw there were injured children. Boys were injured. One was severely injured. I immediately started providing first aid and got them away from where the explosion occurred. There was a fire too. I wanted to get them away from there. Then I started treating them further away from where the fire was.
Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Russia has used nearly 9,500 missiles and 14,000 drones to strike Ukraine, reported the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Alexander Syrsky. He added that almost 12,000 of these strikes hit targets in Ukraine, most of which were civilian. Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine have released a video showing HIMARS rocket systems in action. The footage reveals the systems being used to destroy critical Russian pontoon crossings. Earlier, on the morning of August 19, Russian sources stated that the Armed Forces of Ukraine destroyed the third and the final bridge across the river called Seym in the Glushkovsky district of the Kursk region. Ukrainian forces control over 1,260 square kilometers of Russia's Kursk region and 93 settlements, reported the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Alexander Syrsky. Among them is the city of SUDZHA, which is located just 10 kilometers from the border. Our journalist Mikita Ilchenko visited it.
This is our first minutes in SUDZHA, Kursk region. So far, as I can see, the city has some signs of shelling and fighting, but it's relatively better than comparing to the towns on the Ukrainian side, the frontline towns I've been to.
The Russian city of SUDZHA is located just 10 kilometers from the border. It's among the 93 settlements in the Kursk region which are under the control of Ukraine.
The enemy is constantly striking settlements along the entire border. It is targeting Russians, such as the city of SUDZHA, where we are now. People are also being hit. They suffer from it.
There was no evacuation. Everyone got out on their own, whoever had transportation. But we're simple people, workers. We don't have such transportation.
Ukrainian defense forces started helping civilians from the very first days of the operation.
There are a lot of old people left here. Your guys, they ask them, what do you need? What kind of medicine? They brought bread yesterday, and water was carried by the guys. So we're not afraid of them. They're very friendly. They treat us well.
On August 15, Ukraine created a military administration in SUDZHA. It maintains law and order and ensures the priority needs of the population. Since August 20, Ukrainian doctors have been treating people here.
Every day a therapist, a surgeon will see patients. We provide them with medicine, perform certain surgical procedures and apply bandages. We are trying to resolve the issue of preserving the health of those who remained.
We are gradually seeing how the Russians treat their population, while our military personnel adhere to the principles of humanity, in addition to international laws. Our soldiers are different from theirs.
They said, don't be afraid, we will not do anything bad to ordinary people. And they didn't.
Ukraine's operation in Russia's Kursk region is the result of illegal actions by Vladimir Putin, stated European Union spokesperson Peter Stano. He also underlined that Ukraine has the right to defend itself.
What we are seeing on the battlefield, be it in the Ukraine or on the Russian territory, is just the result and consequence of Putin's illegal actions. Ukraine has every right to defend itself, and this has nothing to do actually with the accession process with the EU, because this is a parallel track which is being done between the European Union and Ukraine. And again, Ukraine is currently fighting off a brutal illegal aggression and is entitled to defend itself.
Belarus has stationed aircraft and air defense troops along its border with Ukraine. This move follows an announcement by self-proclaimed President Alexander Lukashenko that nearly a third of the country's military forces will be deployed to the frontier. According to the commander of the Belarusian Air Defense Forces, the military has also deployed anti-aircraft missiles and soldiers from the Radio Technical Corps. Belarus military consists of approximately 60,000 personnel. The pace of evacuation has increased from Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region, with 500 to 600 people leaving the city every day. According to the regional governor Vadim Filashkin, there are still more than 53,000 civilians in Pokrovsk, including nearly 4,000 children.
So this is Alexander Kerry with the team of UNITED24. We are right now in Pokrovsk. The Russians are reportedly closing in. They are indeed reportedly 10 to 15 kilometers around the city. As we heard last night, the city was heavily bombed, which also pushed local authorities to ask for an evacuation of residents here. But as you can see, there's an eerie sense of resignation here. People go on about their businesses, and it looks like there's not so much of a sense of emergency around a lot of citizens of Pokrovsk. Now, this is not the case for everyone. We met a few people that decided to send their belongings through the post office before leaving the city by fear of Russians.
My children are taking me away. I don't want to. Many of us don't want to leave. So we're packing our bags and we'll leave. It is dangerous, and it was last night, but you know, this unwillingness to leave overrides any danger.
Now, according to local authorities, between 500 and 600 people are leaving the city every day. Now, this whole evacuation is happening in a fairly orderly manner as we went to an evacuation point to see how it was going.
It's a pity to leave your house, a lot of things. But we'll take what we need and leave the rest here.
Now, according to local authorities out of the city that was roughly between 80,000 and 60,000 people before the war, now 53,000 people are still here. Out of it, roughly 5,000 children are still staying in the city, and local authorities may push for a mandatory evacuation of these children over the next 2 days. And for those who decided to leave, this is the start of a long exodus far from the city and the life they leave behind.
The G7 is to aid Ukraine with a 50 billion euros loan. The German Chancellor Olaf Scholz announced the new financial initiative in a post published on his X page. The Bundestag Chancellor also emphasized that Germany remains one of Ukraine's most significant European supporters. Previously, in June 2024, the G7 summit agreed to finance Ukraine with $50 billion from confiscated Russian funds. Germany will supply Ukraine with 4 additional IRIS-T air defense systems by the end of the year. This was reported by the German press agency. In addition, Berlin will send 10 self-propelled anti-aircraft Gepard guns, 16 self-propelled howitzers, 10 Leopard tanks, drones, and several thousand rounds of artillery and tank ammunition. According to the deputy government spokesperson Wolfgang Buschner, German allegiance to Ukraine is unwavering, and the government will continue to provide aid for as long as it takes. Denmark is to provide Ukraine with a new aid package of approximately $116 million. According to the Danish government, the funds will be allocated for acquiring military equipment through both the Ukrainian defense sector and international partners. The statement released on August 19 said that it is crucial that Denmark continues to support Ukraine so that the country is able to defend itself. The 20th military support package has been put together on the basis of Ukraine's wishes and needs and must support Ukraine both in the short term and in the coming years. Czech President Petr Pavel suggests Ukraine could join NATO even with temporary occupied territories. In an interview that Pavel gave to Czech news site Novinky on August 19, he stated that he thinks there is a solution to allow Ukraine to join NATO.
I think that full restoration of control over the entire territory is not a necessary prerequisite. If there is a demarcation, even an administrative border, then we can take this administrative border as temporary and accept Ukraine into NATO in the territory it will control at that time.
In other news, the Czech Minister of Defense Jana Černochová announced via her official X page that the Czech Republic will use Russian funds frozen in the EU to supply Ukraine with hundreds of thousands of much-needed 155mm shells. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi departed New Delhi for his trip to Poland, where he is set to meet with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk and President Andrzej Duda. After this, he will head to Kyiv. According to the Office of the President of Ukraine, Modi will officially visit Ukraine on August 23. This will mark the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine in the history of bilateral relations. Modi will hold talks with the Ukrainian President on the issues of bilateral and multilateral cooperation. A month ago, on July 8 and 9, Modi visited Moscow and met with Russian self-proclaimed President Vladimir Putin. Ukrainian parliamentarians supported the ratification of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. The document was supported by 281 elected representatives. The Rome Statute aims to ensure criminal prosecution for the gravest international crimes, including genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. That's it for today. We're United24 Media. Thanks for staying with us and see you on Friday.